We are back from a sun-soaked Yankee Stadium.
Why'd you have to throw in the yet, dude?
Well, because I don't know how this is going to play out, and I think that's the beautiful thing about sports. All I know from last night at Yankee Stadium, being in the building, experiencing it, is that there is not a person alive, and we got a lot to get to, by the way. We'll get you set for Game 5. We'll talk about the ball snatchers from the right field corner last night. There is a lot to get to, and, of course, we'll talk to you live from Yankee Stadium until 7:25. But we all need to be honest. In the building last night, when Freddie Freeman tucked one into the right field corner, when the Yankees got back-to-back walks in the bottom of the first inning, and failed to score, what else is new? When Anthony Volpe, who eventually became the hero, doesn't score from second on a 400-foot double, is there anybody who was in this building who thought the New York Yankees were going to win?
Forget being in the building. Any Yankee fan anywhere said, yep, that's a wrap. That's a good one. That was a good. We'll see you next season. That's what it felt like.
How could you not take?
Of course you could, because you couldn't. Even Sterling, because I was listening to it on the radio. Sterling like, oh, it's deep, it's long, it's gone. Freddie Freeman, he starts talking about the 4 consecutive home runs. Isn't it actually 6 if you go back to the last time he was in the World Series?
It is a new Major League record. He passed George Springer. He's hit a home run in 6 consecutive World Series games.
Exactly. So when you're listening to it on the radio, it's like, man, do I even want to listen to this anymore? Do I want to keep paying attention to this? You guys had to, because you're sitting here probably feeling as despondent and dead as it was 2 days ago. But ultimately, it turned around. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that it was a bullpen game.
Look, that helped, and the Yankees had to take advantage of it. And look, I get it. The Dodgers didn't throw their best yesterday. That's not the Yankees' problem. Just like it wasn't their problem that the Royals and the Guardians weren't that good. You have to take advantage of what's in front of you. But what I saw last night, where I give this Yankee team a ton of credit, is last night wasn't easy. Last night was the same. The Yankees played a flawed-filled game. The Yankees failed with a lot of scoring opportunities, and they won anyway.
Yeah, they won anyways because Dave Roberts conceded down a run.
No, but it's more than that, bro.
I know it's not.
Because that's not fair.
Of course it's not. But it's the reality of what happened. But you could see it in Dave Roberts' face. He was like, all right, I'm going to give this game away.
But you got to take advantage of it.
Of course you got to take advantage of it. And the problem with Dave Roberts, and this is my issue with him now, is that you gave the Yankees life. Yes, they were off to a running start because Anthony Volpe goes and it's a grand slam and they're up 2 runs and it feels like, oh, this is the Yankees' time. But they slowly started picking their way back into it, the Dodgers, until they just conceded. And the last thing you want to do.
I disagree with the word.
Hold on. The last thing you want to do with a team like the Yankees that are good, that have been dormant, is let them wake up. Right? If you're going to kill them, kill them.
Right.
Step on their throat. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
The Dodgers could have continued to try to do that. Instead, Dave Roberts said, you know what? I'm saving my bullpen because I don't want to exhaust it all just in case I can't win this game. You got to win every game.
But he did that against the Mets and the NLCS.
I understand it. I'm just saying it's a flawed philosophy.
Well,
it can work against the Mets. It might not work against the Yankees, especially when Garrett Cole is the starting pitcher today.
You definitely gave the Yankees life. You definitely gave the Yankees more of an opportunity. But the Yankees had to do something about it. Because in the first inning against Ben Kasparius, they had 2 on and 1 out, and they didn't score. It was more of the same.
Yep.
Like, I'm sitting here at Yankee Stadium, and believe it or not, I was moseying around for the first 4 innings. I was surrounded by douchey Dodger fans. I couldn't believe it.
There were a lot of them yesterday.
When Freddie tucked that home run into the right field seats, I saw a grown man cry. He started jumping up and down. He's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm like, shut up. You can't believe it.
It's the first inning. You haven't won yet.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, first inning, Freddie hits a 2-run home run. He's excited. Yankee fans are distraught. In the bottom of the first inning, after the ball snatcher incident with Gleyber Torres, and we'll get to that later on, Juan Soto walks. Aaron Judge puts together, to his credit, a really good at-bat drawing a walk. I know he's paid to hit the ball over the fence, but I'll never kill a guy for drawing a walk. And you're set up with Jazz Chisholm up instead of Giancarlo Stanton, which I thought was a mistake by Boone. And the Yankees failed. And so they're down 2-0 in the second inning, and it really felt more of the same. And I thought in the bottom of the second inning, when Volpe made the horrible base running decision on the Austin Wells double, my thought was, oh, my God, Like, this is really how it's going to end.
Yeah.
The Yankees are going to Yankee all the way to the finish line.
No, you can't say that. The Yankees aren't yanking. What are you talking about?
No, at that point I thought that it's the second inning.
Say like the Yankees are jetting. The Yankees don't Yankee. The Yankeeing is like being great.
But you know what I mean from 2022.
Say the Yankees were jetting.
I'm not going to do that.
No, Tiki. The Yankees did Yankee last night when Volpe hit the grand
Thank
slam.
you. That's Yankeeing.
Listen,
Yankeeing is not
Sean,
crap in the bed.
Sean, you can give me, and you too, Tiki, you can give me the fake optimism. In the second inning, you thought they were Yankeeing. I
thought they were jetting.
No,
I didn't think they were Yankeeing.
You thought this was 2022 all over
Later
again.
on, when Volpe goes yard, he was Yankeeing.
Well, hold on. Let's get there. Because that's the play and that's the moment that definitely changed everything. Because in the third inning, after Volpe makes the bad base running decision, and I know he scored anyway, but here's why that could have been worse. Austin Wells could have ended up on third base. If he ends up on third base, there's a chance they end up tying that game when Verdugo grounds out in the second inning. So instead of it being 2-2, it's a 2-1 game. But in that third inning, after the hit batsman of Judge, after the Chisholm base hit off the wall, after the walk by Giancarlo, Anthony Rizzo hits that little crappy pop up the shortstop. And again, you guys can be fake tough guys now. Oh, we won. We Yankeed. We're the best. Did you honestly think in the third inning, down 2-1, after a boneheaded base running decision, after leaving guys on base, after world champion Anthony Rizzo popped up the shortstop, did you really still have that confidence that the moment was coming for
the
this
fact
game?
that it was 2-1 and not 2-0? I actually felt confident.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't feel like this is going to be impossible. Mainly because it was a bullpen game. You knew eventually there was going to be Dave Roberts was going to put somebody on the mound that the Yankees were going to hit. You just knew eventually. Now, if it was a starter, if it was Walker Buehler who was just lucking his way through the bad decisions by the Yankees and then ultimately gets hot, then I would have been worried. But, in a bullpen game, you've manufactured a run despite being terrible in the first couple of innings. I actually felt pretty confident. I mean, I thought it was going to be ugly instead of the blowout that it became, but I was actually pretty confident that they were going to win that game after they figured out how to score a run.
I thought Volpe was going to double, so I guess I was negative. I didn't think there was going to be a grand slam. I turned to Chris McMonagle, who was sitting next to me. Thank you, Evan Roberts, taking care of me and Chris McMonagle yesterday. Great seats down there. I said, he's getting a hit. He's going to double here. I didn't expect the grand slam, which was awesome. Beer drenched down my back. But from that point forward, here's why I also wasn't still fully confident. I didn't expect Luis Gil to have balls the next 4 innings either, which is another part of this he danced a couple in and out of jams. I thought Luis Gil, and I know he, got taken out in the 5th after the Will Smith home run, but I thought Luis Gil surviving after that Freeman homer was really the key to why the Yankees survived last night.
Yeah, I think Luis Gil giving them another inning and a half basically was very, very important. I thought when the Dodgers creeped back in the 5th inning, and remember how they creeped back. They creeped back on a Will Smith cheapy home run.
Correct.
And then Gleyber Torres makes, I think, a bad defensive play when he kind of lollipopped that throw to Volpe on the Freddie Freeman double play ball, which gave the Dodgers an extra run. When the Dodgers are down by a run, and look, I'm IBOing this. My kind of belief was more 50-50 at that point because they did break through with the big hit. They did have the big moment by Anthony Volpe, and he deserves all the credit. But then in the bottom of the 5th inning, right after the Dodgers made it a 1-run game, the Dodgers are gifting the Yankees base runners when Tommy Edman makes that error, and then Jazz Chisholm draws a walk. And again, they had 2 on and nobody out. And so what's so funny about last night, you should take this as a positive more than anything, is that they made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
They did a lot of the things that got them down 3-0. You have 2 on and nobody out with Stanton, with Rizzo, and Volpe coming up, and you get nothing. And to me, it felt like more missed opportunities by the Yankees. To their credit, their bullpen, specifically Clay Holmes, Mark Leiter, stunningly enough, and I hated that move, by the way, but it worked out. Mark Leiter facing Shohei Ohtani, tying run at the plate. Who the hell felt good about that? Did anybody feel good about that?
No, not at all. But you know what?
Worked out better than Game 1, Shohei.
Yeah, you're right.
It did. It worked. And Luke Weaver did an amazing job. And so the Yankees, to their credit, were able to overcome the fact that, in my opinion, they played a very flawed Game 4. They made a lot of the same mistakes they've made all year long. They struggled to get the big hit. They had a defensive miscue because, again, I think that Gleyber play on the Freddie Freeman double play was huge. They had a base running mistake by Jazz Chisholm. Like, they played a very flawed game and won anyway. And they have life now going into Game 5. So I rip them, but I give them a lot of credit that despite all those mistakes, they were able to win the game anyway.
They still scored 11 runs despite all those mistakes.
Yes.
And you could blame the Dodger bullpen and whatever. Dave
Tiki's
Roberts.
done that, not me.
I get all of that. What the Yankees have now today is life,
yes,
and what they have is hope. And I could tell you as a Yankee fan who was in this building last night and driving in today with the sun shining down and feels like a mid-June day.
It's like 80 degrees in there, it feels like.
What I have discovered down 3-0 and getting that taste is something that very few fan bases get, and I've turned the 3-0 deficit into a positive watching the Yankees survive. This feels freeing. This feels great. And I smell blood in the water with a banged-up Ohtani, a Freeman on an ankle, and your ace going tonight, and suddenly a bottom of the order where Austin Wells has to feel good, Anthony Volpe feels good, even Alex Verdugo feels good. This feels like promise.
Yeah, I love what Austin Wells said, too. I don't know why that mentality just wasn't there earlier. Just don't be so tight.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Screw it.
We're down 3-0.
That should be the slogan of this team now.
Screw it. What do we have to lose? Nothing. But guess what? Despite winning last night, you still have nothing to lose.
You win tonight, pressure starts to shift.
That's exactly right.
Now, as far as what the Dodgers did last night, the Dodgers did what they've been doing this entire postseason, which is make decisions for the long haul of the series as opposed to the game. But I will tell you where, Tiki, I kind of agree with you. Aaron Boone did something that I loved. I'm going to give him a compliment. And I've been screaming about this on the radio for many, many years, and I feel like I won the argument because managers are now doing it. If I have a top reliever, if I have a reliever that we all agree, you want to call him a closer, call him a closer. I call him the best reliever in my bullpen. I like to use that guy, not just in the 8th inning, not just in the 9th inning, but when it matters the most.
Right.
So Aaron,
just like what you said with Luke Weaver to Susan, when
yes,
you ask if what happened if Heel got in trouble in the 3rd inning.
Yes.
Bring in Luke Weaver.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's what he did in the 7th inning.
Yes.
He went to Luke Weaver to get Mookie Betts. I probably would have done that sooner. Unfortunately, because of when he made the move to go to lighter, he didn't have that possibility because of the 3-batter minimum. So I would have managed that inning a little bit differently, but I wanted Luke Weaver to face Ohtani and Betts. He faces Betts. He strikes him out. He pitches a brilliant 8th inning. At that point, with a 2-run lead, and I'm saying this to Renee, who produces Spanish radio and does a brilliant job, Luke Weaver's got to stay in the game. Luke Weaver's got to finish the job.
Yep.
The mistake that Dave Roberts may have made, and it's not our problem because who cares about the L.A. Dodgers, was in that bottom of the 8th inning. Forget about managing to win the game. Manage to force Boone to keep Luke Weaver in the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because that can compromise Weaver in Game 5.
That's what I mean by not managing his bullpen correctly or the bullpen use correctly. He allowed the Yankees to just run it up. It got out of control in the 8th, and then all of a sudden, Luke Weaver can sit down, right?
Yes.
Luke Weaver, who pitched 21 pitches, is available tonight.
Yes.
And so it creates an advantage that you don't want to give to the sleeping lion over here. At least they're awake a little bit now, the Yankees, but you know what I'm talking about. They were dead. And you had a chance to, even though they were fighting back to life, to put them back to sleep, and you didn't.
Well, I think that the Dodgers had to be judicious about which relievers they were using. I mean, think about it. They used Ben Kasparius and Daniel Hudson and Landon Knack to keep them in a game. Has most people even heard of most of these guys? So I think that there was always a strategy of, I'm going to use not the back end of my bullpen, basically the front end of my bullpen, the guys that aren't high leverage guys to try to keep me in the game. But I think the big swing, like you said, was he didn't have to keep Weaver in the game for the 9th inning.
No.
Because while Aaron Boone can't care about tomorrow, he can only care about one game. He needed to survive, which is why I would have pitched Cole on short rest. But hey, he survived it. We can all move on.
And he gets cold today.
I think Weaver getting to be taken out and not pitch the 9th inning was a very, very important moment in this game. But where the Yankees deserve a lot of credit, and Sean probably doesn't even remember because he said a lot of stuff. You're on the air for 5.5 hours, you forget a lot of crap. But I thought about it last night. Sean started bringing up something that's very uncomfortable for us to talk about, but I'm sorry, we have to talk about it, and that's 2004. And I know that's a very weird spot for Yankee fans because it's your worst moment as a fan. But right now, that's a guiding light. And Sean brought up Game 4, Yankees-Red Sox. And he brought up something that he probably already forgot. He brought up how the Yankees, leading in that series, actually went up 2-0.
Yep.
And they went up 2-0 on a 2-run home run by one of their superstars. In the Yankees' case, it was A-Rod.
Yep.
In the Dodgers' case, it was Freddie Freeman. Yesterday, I asked everybody, is there anything about this Yankee team that makes you think they're the 2004 Red Sox? And it's easy to say no. Until something happens. Until something occurs that makes you say, wait a second. The Yankees were losing 2-0 before you could sit comfortably. And they failed in the first inning. And they failed in the second inning. And they still responded. Last night, the Yankees gave you a little bit like a crumb of the 2004 Red Sox.
Yeah.
They gave you a little snippet of what it takes to make Major League Baseball history, and that's the thing that despite all their flaws last night, despite maybe not being confident throughout the game, has to give you hope on this Wednesday afternoon. They gave you a couple of kernels from the 04 Red Sox.
Well, I hope that they take the attitude that they had last night that we heard from Austin Wells, and it's kind of like Susan said when she was on, don't let us win one game.
Yep.
Right? Because that's when we come after you. That's when we start believing again. And you have to.
And that's what the clubhouse was saying last night, too.
Absolutely. How can you not? Especially with Garrett Cole taking the mound today. I mean, not to say it's an automatic, but he's your ace, and he's paid to be an ace. He's got his regular rest because he didn't pitch on short rest. Go be an ace today. And so if you win Game 5 at home, this place gets electric again. You go on the road, and Friday it turns into, all right, we just got to win 2 games.
Yep.
It's not
one game. One game. You're playing for one game, then you play for one game.
True, but you know what I mean. Like if you get back to L.A., if you're the Yankees and you get back to L.A., all it is 2 games.
That's it. Think about it simply. Right now, it's only 3 games. I said to you yesterday, it's just a 4-game winning streak. They happen. The Yankees had 9 of them over the course of the season. Is it really that difficult to win 4 in a row?
Especially not when Netflix shoved the documentary down our throat last week.
But keep this in mind, Yankee fans. And I know sometimes with history, Tiki, it's like, it's interesting, but what does it mean? Here's something you should know as you drive to Yankee Stadium tonight or as you get ready to watch tonight's game. More times than not, when you're down 3-0, you're done. And I don't mean in the series. I mean in Game 4. You're done. In the history of the World Series, only 2 teams have even forced a Game 5. If the Yankees win tonight, a game they're favored to win, a game with their ace on the mound, understand the New York Yankees will be the first team ever in the World Series to force a 6th game after being down 3-0. And if you want to include the LCSs, only 4 times in the history of baseball has a team been down 3-0 and even forced a Game 6. It happened twice in the late 90s. The Atlanta Braves did it. My Mets did it.
Yeah.
We obviously know about the Yankees blowing it in 04 and the Astros forcing it in 2020.
And that's it. That's 40. This was the 41st time, correct?
Yes, 41st time.
41st time that a team has been down 3-0. That's LCS and World Series.
That's all of them.
Right.
Only 4 times has a team even gotten to a 6th game, and if the Yankees win tonight, they're the only ones in World Series play to force a Game 6. So it matters that they didn't get swept. Like, they actually sort of defied baseball logic by not getting swept. And when you factor in being down 2-0, and you factor in the ball snatchers, and you factor in Volpe's base running, and you factor in the lack of a big hit to Volpe's grand slam, when you factor all of that in, I think it makes it even more amazing.
I am so giddy, and there was a loud chant in the Grand Hall as I walked out last night.
What was it?
Dave Roberts.
Oh, really?
Dave Roberts.
Really?
Yankee fans smell it. Dave Roberts ruined our lives 20 years ago, and we're ruining his this week.
Well, I texted my cousin last night because he's getting killed by everybody. And I said, Cousin Dave, I wouldn't have done that. We'll get to your calls next, 888-808-1019. As far as the ball snatchers in right field, we've got a lot to say about that, and we'll address it real soon. But there was a moment late in last night's game, kind of a small moment, that could change everything about this World Series.